appears that the government's rhetoric has again turned to fear, which, again, is very unfortunate for our city. Victorians were promised 4,000 ICU beds in April last year. We've barely had 400 delivered. We were told we would get supply issues under control. Now we're told they're not. The government has told us that they have roadmaps to get out of where we're at. It appears today there's just confusion. What I say today to the government is very clear, and that is Victorians need hope. The constant talking down of where we're at, the constant fighting with the federal government, the constant fighting between jurisdictions is something that I think all Victorians have had enough of. Speaking of having enough, I think we've all had enough of the protests that are on the streets of Melbourne, and we've all had enough of our police being treated as punching bags by people who, frankly, don't have proper words to describe them given their actions, particularly at the Shrine yesterday. I think we've all had enough of it. And I said from the day these protests began, that these people should cease, they should go home, they should stop behaving in the way that they are, and they should treat our police with respect. Police families, policemen and women do a huge amount of work for us, keeping us safe, and particularly during the pandemic. I've said to many people who are frustrated, and I say it again today, if you are frustrated with the way that the pandemic may be handled, management of it, and a whole range of other issues, then there are ways and means in which you can take that frustration out. One of which I keep saying is at a state election via the ballot box. That is what normal and sensible Australians do. You don't turn on our law enforcement officials. No doubt you'll ask me about Bernie Finn and one of my parliamentary colleagues. It's difficult to comment on or to excuse. Well, I won't be excusing points of view online that I don't agree with. And it's pretty clear I don't agree with Bernie's comments. It's very clear that my support has always been and will always remain for our frontline men and women in emergency services, and particularly Victoria Police. They have had a very tough job during the pandemic. They have been treated appallingly by sections of the community over the last few days. Very small section, I might add, very small section. But they receive and hold the great support of the vast bulk of ordinary Victorians, myself included. Our Victoria Police put everything on the line for us. I expect them to be treated with respect. I expect police families to be treated with respect. I certainly expect them to be treated with respect by all of my parliamentary colleagues. There are no second chances for any of my colleagues to create these kind of disturbances. And I've made it very clear, and while I'll deal with matters internally, and you would expect none of your bosses to be making these kind of issues in public, and nor will I. But I don't have any tolerance for people on my side talking down or being perceived to be talking down Victoria Police in the job they're doing at the moment. It's very difficult, and they deserve all of our support. They have it 100% from me, from my Deputy Leader David Southwick, and I expect it and believe I'd certainly have that from all of my parliamentary team. I will take some questions first, because I know I'm going to get David to talk about some issues in the city, but I'm sure you'll want to ask me some questions.